My gaming group got along very well. It was a combination of personalities and skill sets that made for such a rewarding and fun experience. I think what we did well was being organized with our weekly meetings and being clear about everyone's roles. Another thing that worked was our overarching idea. It originally started as something loosely STEM-based, and then along the way, we came up with the design process idea, which is so relevant today. The escape room concept was also well executed in the proof of concept. Overall, building the prototype of the game went well because we chose a usable platform. In a word, I would say that we excelled at planning, and we were lucky that things went according to plan. Now, a lot of our initial ideas didn't come to fruition. For instance, we had thought of doing something around the scientific process, but eventually found more value in doing the design cycle. Other ideas were too complex to accomplish with the skills that we had. Could we have pushed ourselves a bit further to try learning to code? Probably, but we just didn't want to take the risk now. However, when we settled on our escape room idea, things generally went smoothly. Speaking for myself, other than the initial phase of learning how to use co-spaces, everything was very easy to assemble and code. We weren't ever really stuck as a team because we'd always jump in to help each other out. Being a part of the gaming group, I think I thought outside of the box for the first time in university. That's saying a lot about the education system. The biggest learning occurred during the Fullerton exercises. My group checked all the boxes, but we didn't really explore or go deeper with our thinking. Our answers represented normative views, which were pretty limited. After revising the assignment, we learned to pay attention to things that were less mainstream and gave voice to underrepresented groups in our game. If anything, the limiting factor was the platform that we used. The pre-built characters and models limited what and who we could represent. Fullerton encourages us to look at our everyday lives to draw inspiration, and that's exactly what we did. I learned that good games could be set in fantastical places or simply just in our regular world. Through the experience of building a game, I got to apply what I learned from IP4, what is a game, and found the hardest part to be giving players choice. It's hard as a game designer to not want the player to play the game in a certain intended way. There's also a fine line between player freedoms and game limits. This game was also inspired by Martin et al. In IP2, who suggest that analogies are an effective way of teaching science topics, especially ones that are unrelated to the topic itself. While our game is not a direct analogy of a specific science concept, I learned that educational games don't always have to tackle a topic head-on. If I had more time, I would learn how to code so that I could customize the game more and give players more choice. I'd also love to carry out some testing with real players to get feedback on the game. In terms of the idea and theme, I would keep them the same. A few ways that would make the game better would be to have more things the player can actually do and that are challenging, like maybe chopping ingredients within a time limit, cooking something to the right doneness, and gathering ingredients. Drawing from Guy and Guy's idea of digital teaching and learning systems, it would be neat if this game could become a multiplayer online game, though this open-endedness may make it hard to have the game still centered around the design process, or maybe it can be educational in another way. I guess now that I know what a game is, I ask myself whether educational games have a more specific definition. My biggest takeaway was that there is an endless body of knowledge around gaming, and current research that's still being done. I definitely have a lot to learn. As someone who stopped playing games in high school to now developing a proof of concept game, this says a lot about the possibilities in the field of gaming. Game design, being a complete black box to me just a few short weeks ago, has now intrigued and inspired me in ways that have grown my respect for game developers, streamers, and players.